Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode. Today, I have with me Monica Browning. So, Monica Browning is a real parent coach from infant, toddler to teen. She creates simple solutions with real results that last. She's the author of The Connected Parent, How to Raise Children Who Feel Seen, Safe, and Worthy. And she's also the creator of the 7 Pillars of Parenting Alignment, which is a heart led framework that helps families shift from pressure to presence and build lasting trust through every age and every stage. From infant care to college classroom, Monica has spent over 2 decades walking alongside parents. She's a full time single mama, she's a seasoned realtor, and she's a multi passionate entrepreneur. She brings lived experience, intuitive intelligence, and whole body wellness into everything she teaches and touches. So, Monica, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me and hosting this platform. It's so great to be here. I love all of our chats. We're like
Yes.
so connected.
We have such crazy, amazing, wonderful chats. They get as crazy as you want them to be.
That's right. Yes. Oh my goodness. Thank you for.
Well, thank you for your time here. Tell me more. How did you get into this? How did you become an intuitive parenting coach?
Well, I say, as my mom would tell me, actually, that I was always good with children, even when I was a child. So, I've been working with children since I was officially like 11 years old as a babysitter, and then my world evolved out of high school, got into early childhood education in college, and started out as a preschool assistant teacher in a classroom, and then evolved up into that. So I've been working with children like really since my early years, and I've just always been connected. And my intuition has always it evolves, it clarifies the more I'm with children and the more I spend time with them, because I can see like right to the heart of the matter. And yeah, I don't know. It's a gift, I guess. It was just get. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like, how you're born into being good at things. Like that has just been one of my things. I've always been good with children, and I've always loved being around them. I love studying all of child development, early childhood education, and so I spent the first half of my life in the classroom with little ones.
Yeah, I love that. And I remember one of our first conversations too, whenever I was like, "Oh my gosh, like you know kids." And you're like, "Well, yeah, like I know kids." And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. Like you know
I
kids."
know you said like the first thing you said, I just get this mothering energy from you with like and I was like, yes, thank you.
And you are. And I'm like, I want to be under that wing. Here, lift your arm for a second.
Yeah, I know, right? You did. You said that. I want to be under your wing. I was just like,
Yep.
yes. I'm even now still like I'll be in a supermarket or whatever, and I'll lock eyes with a little one just sitting in the cart or something. It's just it's an energy. It's an energy that I see them and they see me, and they see me seeing them, I think is
Yes,
the thing.
yes. It's like you can
Um,
peer into their soul with those things. I know some of the like some of the girls I started recently coaching volleyball. Well, I kind of fell into the place, but I accepted the role because I played for years. And the girls that I was coaching, I'm like, we're queens. Like, I'm going to raise you guys up. We're going to be queens. And that's what
yeah.
one of the girls on the court, I was like, you're the queen of the court. Own that court. Own that
Uh,
space.
yeah, I played
And I,
volleyball too, actually.
and I know that's what you do as well. So tell us a little bit more your processing because I know you work with the parents, but you're an advocate for the kids. So kind of
Yeah.
dive into that a little bit so we can have a better understanding.
Yeah, well, what I learned actually after being in the classroom for so long, and myself, is that it really comes back to the parent, because the children are they come into this world like they don't have the judgment and the guilt and the shame and the not good enough. Babies love themselves no matter what, but it's the adults that we project all of our own things onto them, and our fears, and the be careful, and don't run, and all of the things that actually start to diminish their full expression. And we are usually uncomfortable with their behavior because it's a trigger for us. So we want them to stop crying, and we want them to be quiet, and we want them to listen and follow directions and all the things that we do. But it's really coming from a place of of where are we? Where is our alignment? And where are we in our emotional healing and journey and our emotional intelligence? Because when we're regulated, things just sort of fall into place because they feel our energy and we are there for we are their role model. So if we're role modeling that we're, feeling anxious and pressure and stressed and overwhelmed and rushed and hurried and all the things that they feel that also, and then that becomes we become their chaos because
Yep.
that's what they're swirling in. So it really comes down to, the awareness. That's how what my book starts through is the process of being able to identify where are we in that process. And so awareness is the first thing. It's like I become aware of the fact that I'm feeling stressed and overwhelmed with work or whatever it is that I, yell at my kids. And then it'd be like, okay, it's not about them, it was about me. I mean, this is the generalization, like the Cliff Notes
Yeah,
version of
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. And
But I mean, there are certain, like if there's danger, obviously we want to shout no and stop, don't run in the street, right? So there's but that's also one of my pillars is boundaries. So that it's just, we have to have, these things in place, but we want to come from a place of not repressing their expression, but being able to support their emotions so it passes. And I like to use the analogy of a cat because this is happens to me all the time. When I work at home, my cat will come up to me and scratch on me and scratch on me, and it's like a little toddler that they want our attention. They want our attention. And we have to get the laundry done, and we have to do the dishes, and we have to go do the errands and all the things, and blah, especially being a solo parent. But if we just give them that presence, like if I just pick up the cat and give them that presence, they get their needs met and then they go on their way. It's the same with the toddler. If we're able to walk in the door and put our stuff down and put the phone down and spend the quality present time with them, if we see them, they see us seeing them, they get their needs met, and then they kind of go on their way. I mean, that's the building the secure attachment, which is the trust that all of the other things, like that's how the ages and stages grow and develop upon each other's because that foundation of being seen and feeling safe and feeling worthy because we show up and we're present, that matters. And that's how, we move into the teenage years. That work has built the foundation. And if
yes,
we haven't, that's okay too. It's like it's never too late.
exactly.
So
Yes.
I want to
It's
make that clear too. And that's why
yes.
we're here to support people.
Yes. And it is, I tell my clients that all the time. And anytime a lady comes in, like I had a call with somebody recently and she was like sobbing on the phone and she's like, I can't get my shit together. I feel like I'm always scattered. I'm always yelling at my kids. It's not my kids' fault. It's my fault. And she's like, it's my reaction.
Yeah.
And that's where trauma healing, and the work that I do with clients as well is how do we get to that regulated space? How do we regulate? Because it's one thing to say, go regulate your nervous system, go love yourself, go
Yeah.
self-care. And we're not being taught how to do those things because we
That's right.
learn how to do those things. So it's a reteaching. And
It is.
it's like that old dogs can't learn new tricks. Yes, they can.
Yes.
You have to choose to want to, and you have to
That's
effort into it.
that's the key right there. It's a choice. And
Yes.
I was on another podcast and she specifically works with teens and she was saying, what do you think, the biggest thing about, especially single parents? She said, I hear that, parents are always so exhausted. And I said, yes, I mean, of course. And it's a choice. Like we get to show up and we get to do whatever it is, like go to the games and be the volleyball coach.
Yeah.
And I'm the senior parent coach or parent, like the the classroom parent or whatever. But
Oh
I'm
yeah,
I'm
yeah. Room
I'm
mom.
managing all of that for their game, like because it's all the things. But it's like I get to do that because I'm not going to have that opportunity ever again. So if we look at it like it's an honor and a privilege versus yes, of course I'm tired. And then there's that old saying like you sleep when you're dead, right? It's and there's also the self-care piece that we do get
Yes.
to learn how to regulate ourselves and then it is okay to say no. So it is, it's finding what works for for ourselves. And then also, like, to your client's perspective, it's like we have to also give ourselves grace and not to beat ourselves up for I'm really working on that one is, giving myself grace and the compassion and grace element, like we would talk to our best friend.
Yep.
We would talk to
Yes.
our,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, see, I'm not in the tech world, so I'm not exactly sure how to turn off all the sounds, but I'm so sorry about that. But yeah.
Yeah. We can't hear them. You're all good.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I do the same thing. You talk about grace and compassion. One of my clients this morning was sent me a message, and I was like, "Remember your keywords this week: grace and compassion." And I was like, "I hate to ping you again. If you're watching this, grace and compassion," because that is it.
That's
You
a
know,
big
it is
piece
giving yourself that grace, and it's also giving yourself permission. I think
for
too
sure.
goes into it. Like even this volleyball thing. I told my kid, I said your our first obligation is cheer because that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, but we want you to be the coach for volleyball. And I'm like, you have to understand mommy's business. You gotta understand mommy's time. I value my time with you. So if it takes that, we're not gonna do that. They were like, so we
Right.
can go sit and practice. I was like, do you want to? Because that would be the
Right.
only way that I would do this is if you want to be a part of it. And that actually was what did it. They were like, we enjoyed this with you. Can you do this with us? And I was like, but you can't play on the team. You're not old enough, you know? But it was one of those things, and
Yeah.
it got into that parenting aspect, watching not only my girls see it, but also these girls on this team like go from, oh, I'm beating myself up, oh, I need to be perfect, to step into your queendom. You're the queen of the court.
I love that.
What's your space? So
It's
yeah,
so and it's a practice, right? It's a practice. That's why I say, like, I practice parenting every single day
yeah,
because we are human and we mess up, and that's okay. And that's another big piece
yeah,
to the whole puzzle is being able to apologize and recognize and practice all of these humanness. So we don't wake up and have abs, we have to practice. you know so that's part of that, and we have to, with parents, we have to practice, we have to retrain our brain, because wherever the gaps were from learning to walk to becoming an adult, there's conditioning that involved, like not
yep,
being good enough in whatever it was, however those messages come into us, or we end up raising our children the way we were raised if we don't want to, become aware to make new choices. And that's where all of those pieces come into place, like practice being the queen of the court, because it's okay to validate ourselves. Where in
yep,
my generation, it's like kind of growing up, it's like, oh, you're bragging, or you're stuck up, or you're talking, if you feel good about yourself, then that's not good.
yeah, right. You're too big
Essentially
for
the
your
opposite.
boots. Too big for your boots.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. What do
Yeah.
you find is one of the biggest gaps so let's go with young kids, toddlers. Where do you find that there's a big gap in the parenting versus the teens as well? So what I mean by that is the regulated nervous system for the parent. Where do you find that there's that like trigger? Because if we're struggling, and the reason I say this, I have some clients who will struggle more in the teenage years than they do in the toddler years. Even though the toddler years, they were like, their nervous system was constantly hijacked.
Yeah.
It was that mommy, mommy, mommy. Okay, I'm going to change my name.
Mhm.
But also when they get to the teenage years, it's like a whole nother world just took over. Hormones changing, everything. So where do you find that there's the biggest gap in there?
So yeah, just to make sure I understand. So the biggest gap of being regulated with a toddler being versus being regulated with a teen,
Yeah, and like how do you connect with them on those different levels?
how do you connect with the child?
Yes.
So, um, so it's almost total opposites, because the toddler, um, they essentially need us to be there because not that they can't do things, but obviously they're little, so they can't reach the cupboard, or they can't do, like, they're not autonomous completely. That's how we're building those skills for them to be able to become these, self-sufficient little people. Um, and oftentimes I hear like, oh, it gets easier. the older that they get because they can fend for themselves. And I find that it's the opposite. Like, yes, they can, sleep through the night and go to the bathroom by themselves and shower by themselves and brush their teeth and all of those things, but it's the critical piece of where they need us the most because they are going through this total life transition of um, puberty, hormonal growth, boys and girls, or however you identify. It's like, especially now, we have a social media lifestyle, which was never introduced, before generations pass. And so I find that being present even more now in a way that supports them is is the gap, is not just to leave them on their own because they can figure it out because they're young adults ish, but to be in their life even more. So for example, like, and as a single parent, my girls were at their dad's for 2 nights and they came home Sunday night, and what could happen is, they could come in and they can put their stuff down, they can go to their rooms and they can get settled for home and get ready for school on Monday. But I choose to be a part of their life. So I just go into their room and I sit on their bed, and it's not a force. It's not a pressure. It's
Um,
not an interrogation. It's just like I'm waiting. I'm available. I'm present. I'm like, oh, did you go, they went to the football game, did you go to the game? Um, and who did you go with? And who did it's being curious without pressure. It's just
yeah.
checking in. And then the longer I sit there, if it's not okay, can you go now? Which is totally fine. Like, it's not personal. It's just okay, that but in this particular situation, which happens, I mean, there's a variable of where their energy at, and that's how, that's the connection and the trust that I've built. And so I sat there a little longer, and so she said, okay, let me tell you what happened. Like, I didn't have to say anything. She was just like, okay, let me tell you what happened. And I was like, oh, okay, great. So I sat there and listened and listened and listened and listened, and then at the end she's like, well, and I said, well, what? And she said, well, you usually say, and this is key for a lot of parents, that what I've learned, and I didn't, she said to me, you usually say, am I just listening? Or would you like some support or feedback? Or do you want to, feed forward? Do you want to hear what I have to think? And I said, oh, yes, you're right. Okay, so am I just listening or do you want, she's like, yes, what are your thoughts? What do you think? And that's another example of I built that into our relationship. And so that's the trust piece. And then when I don't force it, and that's what I talk about, it's like presence over pressure. So I'm just being present and there's no pressure. And then they do feel safe enough to share what's on their heart. And then when they know that I'm not going to go, oh, wait, why didn't you say that? Or you could have said that, or you could have said. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a perfect parent. So I have jumped to that before. I just want parents, people to clarify that it is
Right.
practice. So I'm not judging people that go there because I've gone there, obviously. But I've just, like I say, I practice this. And because I've built that trust and that practice, she was like, well, how come, you usually say, am I just listening? And so it was a really beautiful transition of her to actually want to hear what I had to say
Yeah.
about the situation. So and that goes for any situation, and not just when they come home from their dad's house, but for any opportunity that I have. And that's the thing about like being tired. Like, of course I'm tired. I worked all weekend. In fact, I probably work extra long when they're gone, right? Because I don't have those interruptions. And it's not even, an interruption, but it is takes time away from everything else that you're doing,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
of course I'm tired, but at the same time, even whatever time it is at night, I'm still going to go into their room and I'm going to tuck them in and do all the routines that I've built in place because that's what anchors in the secure attachment and the trust and their ability to know that it's not about pressure, but that the presence supports wherever they're at. And so hopefully I answered that question.
Yes, you did. You did. You did. I was going to ask you though, I love that you keep saying the word practice, practicing parenting, because that is what we're doing. Like, there is no perfection. And it's something that I bring up with my clients a lot. Like we're always practicing communication, practicing, and that's what I call the power in the C's, practicing
Mhm.
courage, practicing connection,
I love it.
practicing communication, your career, all
Yes.
these things, because we don't come into this world with all the knowledge to be able to do it.
Right.
Like we have to learn as we
Yeah.
go.
Hmm.
And I tell my kids the same thing. Let's practice. But I will say this, even with my girls, so my girls are younger. My girls are 8 and 7, and then I have a 4-year-old son. My son, we're not quite in that space. He's still in the fun all things and mommy, I love you. And I love all that. Like, I know at some point that's going to change, but I will eat it up right now. But my girls, we're learning more of boundaries, right? Like, what are boundaries? My oldest, if I go to touch her hair, especially, and it's something I do to, and I know it's a thing for me to relieve something and to build a connection with her. But I know also it's a safety space, is what I try to create. Now, it's probably an attachment thing for me, but I'll pet her hair and play with her when people are like, trying to ask her a question like, hey, what's your name? Like, hey, what school do you go to? What do you do? Da 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 da. And I'm like playing with her hair and she's like, boundaries. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. Because I don't know, it's like it's a mom thing. It's like this is my kid. I made this my kid. I made this kid.
I know, right? Yes.
And it's like this is my trophy. Like look how good she is. She's being made over. But how do we create these safe spaces for our kids to come to us and share anything? I think that's hard sometimes when we're in that reactive space.
Hmm.
We're in that blowing and going, or hang on baby, let me answer this on my phone real quick, like I'm not really off yet. And
Hmm.
how do we create that safe space for them to come and not feel judged, not feel dismissed or anything? How do we create that?
Yeah. Great question. And even with the bound, well, to just, well, I'll
Yeah, you
say
can tell me, what do we do about that boundary thing when you
well,
talk
with the
about
with the hair thing, only because it is again, it's a practice. And if you practice, I would really love to comb your hair or brush your hair or how does this feel? You know, because when you anyone like when even now, especially now as my girls are getting older, like I ask them, can I give you a hug, or would you like a hug, or do you need a hug? And instead of just like wrestling them into a hug, and oftentimes they'll pause and they'll like take a breath and they'll be like, oh yeah, like it's just the energy that's just like a reset. So if she sees you honoring her, it's going
Yeah.
to teach her how to have not just the like, oh, boundaries because I can, right? But it's a connection between the two of
Yes.
you that you're going to build. And going back to the whole like getting them to open up, this may sound like the most simplistic I mean it is the most simple solution that I have found that I've been consistent with is mealtime. And I even have a master class on it because we've gone so far away from mealtime, um, that I've seen over the years because we're busy moms, we're busy families, we screens are involved. I mean, it's just like we are so distracted, but mealtime has been a sacred place in our house that I have been so consistent with that they know that no matter what, we'll have, and for us, it's dinner. But I say again, like, maybe it's a Sunday breakfast or whatever it is, but mealtime is the time that they know that all is welcome. All of our emotions, anything that happened throughout the day, anything that they need to talk about. I mean, sometimes they'll be like, I'll tell you at dinner because they know that that is the
The safe.
time that there's no I like, and I say in my book, like we cry, we laugh, we argue. It's like it's not all you know
Sunshines
gumdrops.
and
Yeah,
rainbows.
sometimes I was like well, gumdrops, whatever it is, it's sunshines and rainbows. I mean, there's real emotions, like we're angry or we're fighting, but we always come to the table to dinner, and I always have a playlist, and no phones are allowed, and no screens are allowed, and I even say like it doesn't matter. I mean, even if you get takeout, like we'll get food to go and we'll come home and we'll have it at the table and we will have no distractions, no phone calls, no um screens. And and sometimes even if they're buzzing, I'll take them, I mean, and I have a small house. It's not like, it's
Yeah.
not like, they're whatever, but they are not allowed at the table. And it's just such a respected space that is the foundation of the secure attachment for being honest and open and sharing. And again, it's not the pressure of um the interrogation. Like we're so like desperate to get the information from them. Like we want to know what's going on and who, yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tell me all the things.
Tell me everything, right? But again, and it's just like the example of sitting in my daughter's room. It's like sometimes the less I ask, the more they tell me because I know they know that I'm going to be present for them
Yeah.
when they need me to be. And it does sometimes look at like juggling a lot of different, um, you know, uh, responsibilities. And again, I look at that as I get to juggle my schedule for them because I only have this small window of time
Yeah.
before, I mean, like my daughter is a senior. She's going to be graduating high school and then out of the house. It's like I only have this small window of time under the roof of being able to build these foundations. And I know because and part of my work of how my work evolved is because I come from a workaholic mom. And so I've been working on healing these like work was more important than see these are the things, and Dr. Gabor Mate talks about this a lot, is that when children's fundamental needs aren't met, they intrinsically believe that it's their fault. So
Yeah.
I intrinsically believe that it was my fault that my mom was a workaholic, when in turn, she was really just trying to do the opposite of her mom, who was an immigrant and never worked and didn't drive and didn't have her own money and barely spoke English and was very, very poor. And so my mom worked the opposite to do all of that, right? But that looks like not being available to go to my games or not showing up to parent night or not doing the cookie bake off or whatever it is. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that she was a bad mom. I'm just saying
Right.
that I intrinsically believed that it was my fault because children don't have the logical brain to distinguish any of that. They just think, oh, well, my mom's too busy for me, so it's my fault. Like, what's wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
That's what children do. And
Yep.
Dr. Gabor Mate is one of my favorite um, uh, uh, teachers in this new age and state, or in this evolution of understanding what happens when the attachments aren't met, at that age. And so again, there's the balance of doing what our parents did and doing the opposite of what our parents did. But most of the time, that's the only experience that we have becoming parents ourselves.
Right.
Because most people don't spend, decades learning child development. We just have children and expect to know everything, but we don't. And it's the same thing like
Yeah.
our age and stage. Like we've never been this age and stage in our own life. So how can we expect, you know, us to like again, it's a practice. We have to practice being this age and stage in my life right now, like what I'm going through of, you know, menopause and, like we go through our own, like they do, of
Yeah.
puberty and all of the changes in our life. And Dr. Gabor Mate also says that every child doesn't get the same parent because we're in a different age and stage when we have each child. So the birth order matters, the age that we are when we have that child, the relationship, the like my relationship with my ex-husband was very different with my first child than with my second child. Like our relationship had gone through some trauma during,
Yeah.
between the first kid and the second kid, so it's all
It's all a process. It's
it's
all it's all
all
a
a process. And
practice.
that's why I say like people like you and people like me, like we're the helpers because when we seek out like right what they say is like when the student is ready, the teacher appears, right? So you can get that help and that support that we like coaches need coaches. Like we all
Yep.
need different areas of levels of growth, right? So that's why
Yep.
I just think it's beautiful that you have this platform for people and that you're in the field that you're in to help people with where they're at. It's like, and that's the genius zone that you have, right? That I don't have that because I didn't study what you studied. So that's how we can all be partners for each other in our growth and evolution to get where we, and it's not like the degree, like you get there and you're done and you know everything. It's like it's still
Continued learning.
it's a continue. That's the human experience, right?
Yes, continued learning. Welcome to being a human.
Yes.
Oh, it's like I've been watching this show called Travelers on Netflix. It's really awesome.
Oh,
Go check it out. And basically, these souls, they're travelers. And so when the host dies, the human dies, then a traveler gets planted in. And it's like every time they're like, welcome to the 21st. So it's the same
wow.
thing. It's the same concept as we're sitting here. I'm like, welcome to the 21st. Welcome to being a human. Welcome to your human
Exactly.
experience.
Is this a documentary?
No,
Oh, it's
no,
fiction.
it's fiction.
But
But
real life
so,
fiction.
but so like true fiction.
Yeah, real life fiction. I know.
Yeah. We get to all those sci-fi things and then later you're like, oh, that was kind of right.
Well, I mean, yeah, talk about the woo-woo thing. Like I feel like we are these we're just you
Host.
say we're a spirit, we're a spirit having a human experience. We're not a human having a spiritual experience.
Yep, 100%. We are a spirit having a human experience. And there's sometimes whenever I get hurt or I get like cut up, because I'm always afraid of like losing a limb. Or whatever major experience. I'm like, I'm always dissecting myself being a holistic health practitioner. So when something bad happens, I'm like a hypochondriac over here. I'm like, oh my God, something's happening. I'm like, my human experience is just having a human experience.
But that is true. Like going back to Louise Hay work is that these traumas or whatever they are, like their emotions really, they get
Yep.
trapped in our body and that
Yep.
becomes the dis-ease in our body. So
Yep.
if we're
100%.
repressing our anger, and that's the thing about children, is that they're the closest source to God and they feel their feelings in that moment and then they're done until the grown-up is uncomfortable with their feelings and we shut it down. And that's how we learn as adults is that we repress our emotions and we don't
Yep.
say no when we need to and we become people pleasers because we don't want to, get in trouble. I was just having this realization with myself when another friend of mine and I was thinking like if I say no, I'm going to get in trouble because I'm holding a boundary. And in the past, in years past, if I did say no, I'm not being the good girl,
Yep.
so it's like all of these years of repressed emotion. And I actually had thyroid surgery. And when I learned through it that that's like the throat chakra, right? Communication is when I was always stuffing my feelings. I wasn't able to articulate or express myself authentically without feeling like I needed to stuff it down. And so that is part of the body that we do repress our emotions and it becomes stored energy, which creates dis-ease. So Louise Hay is another phenomenal teacher in that,
Yep. And
well,
look, I find that a lot. So I do body coding, right, with my clients and trauma healing and like identifying organ systems and functions, which ones are out of balance, why are they out of balance? Every symptom has a story.
yeah,
So
body keeps.
identifying what are the stories underneath the symptoms, that's your ticket to healing, period.
Wow.
That's also your ticket to healing your legacy. Because
Yes.
that's where when I'm like with most of my ladies, they're moms and they're burnout moms. They're moms who are tired of yelling at their kids. I I I remember being in my foyer back when I was married. I remember being in my foyer picking up toys for like the millionth time that day. And I'm looking out the window and I'm like, I don't like myself. I hate myself. I hate this version of me. This
Hmm.
doesn't feel safe. It feels trapped.
Mm.
And I was like, there's got to be a way to escape this. Because I would yell at my kids for giggles,
Mm. Yes.
being in that space. And I remember I was like, this is not the relationship I want to have with y'all.
Right.
Like, be better kids and listen to me. But it was because I wasn't listening to my own authority.
Right.
I didn't have that. And that's a lot of what I teach, my moms and practice. That's what we do whenever a client comes in. It's like, I was having this conversation with a friend of mine this morning, and she's like, my kid just doesn't get it, and da 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 da. And I'm like, do you get it? Because if you don't get it and you don't have that authority, your kid isn't going to respect that either.
Right. It's powerful to
And the
recognize that.
only time so you talk about mealtime. I was going to go back to that. To the
Oh,
mealtime, that doesn't always, it doesn't always jive with a whole bunch of families, right? And you always got to focus on what works for you. But it reminded me because I'm like, man, I'm not always home for dinner. Sometimes I have to work late. Sometimes, I've got client calls or we're out doing extracurricular activities. And,
Yeah.
with the volleyball, the cheer, all of that, my mom was even asking, like, what do you do with your son? Like, are you going to do something with him? And I'm like, we always do mommy kid time. So I'll take
Yeah.
my kids individually if that's
Yes.
what they want. If I don't have the time to fit all three individually in that weekend that we have, because I'm divorced, so it's every other weekend. If I don't
Hmm.
have that gap, then we're gonna have mommy kid time.
Yes.
And then we have to identify if we do separate it and we do have the time, then what kid goes first? you
Oh,
know and then how much time do we get? How do we get to do this?
yeah.
My son being 4 years old, sometimes him just sitting like this morning, he wakes up, he was not feeling good last night, so I picked him up out of his bed, put him in my bed, and snuggled with him. I
Yeah.
mean, he just wasn't feeling good, so I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
bud, like I'm not gonna have these moments. He wakes up at 4:30 this morning, he feels for me, and then cuddles like right up here, and I'm like, bruh,
Mm.
when I tell
Mhm.
you I've been up since midnight trying to figure this out in my brain, like
Right.
tired. But he gets right there, and instead of getting frustrated, I was just like, buddy, I love you. And I just
Yeah.
arms around him because I'm not going to get this forever.
Right.
Having that moment this morning, he goes, Mommy, can I sit with you and eat my oatmeal and watch TV? And I'm like, yes, you can.
Mm.
Yes. And
Yes.
that was our bonding
Those
moment.
moments are, yes, priceless. Absolutely. And that I'm so glad that you mentioned that too, because that is another thing. Same thing with also being divorced is that the mommy and me time is so critical with, especially with multiple children. And so I would always carve out time, and even times when I didn't. I would even take them, like, have an excuse day in their early years of school. Like I would take them out to lunch or take them, it didn't even have to be, whatever it was the mommy and me time. It is
Yeah.
critical to have
Yeah.
one-on-one
Yes.
time with each child. And it doesn't have to be all in one weekend, but
Right.
it is critical because that shows
Yeah.
them that they matter, that you see them.
Yes.
That's
Yep.
how they feel seen and safe and worthy, is because you know that you're carving that time out with them, and that you're creating these extra special moments. And yes, it's okay to sit with me and eat your oatmeal and watch your show, because that's our moment. That's
Yep.
how he feels safe and he feels seen. And
And it's hard. I will say it is harder with the girls being a little bit older because I've got 8 and 7. And then we got that gap with the 4-year-old who can't do a whole bunch. And he's tired quicker. So we have all those, nyeh, nyeh, nyeh. But
Mhm.
there's times where we'll find movies. Now, getting all three to sit during a movie where we don't eat all the popcorn and then we have to go pee 20 minutes in, all that jazz.
Yes.
And it cracks me up because I'm like, I thank God I have one of my parents to come sit with me because I'm like,
Yeah,
need help with three. It's a lot.
it
But
is.
even having those moments, so my girls, they love conversation talk.
Mm,
Deep conversation. They are not surface level kids. None of my kids are surface level. My son
yeah.
is, but he's like, "Can I tell you all about the pup construction stuff?" And I'm like, "Sure," because I don't know any of these characters. Like, who are these? But my girls in the evening time, after dinner, we're getting ready for bed, all that. It becomes we're laying in bed, and usually my son's asleep. He's already in his bed, but the girls, it's like, "Mommy, can we have a talk?" And it's like, "What kind of talk we having?"
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? And usually that's when they're like, can we expand beyond our years?
Yeah,
And we'll
right.
have
It's
those.
always in those wee hours, right? It's like I
Yes.
thought it was bedtime, but nope, it's
Yeah,
conversation.
nope, it's conversation time. And I love it because we have those, it's that connection for them,
Mhm.
right? It's those moments like during mealtime. And it's like, hey, I
Yeah.
check in with them and I tell them, I just want you to know I'm not going to be mad or angry when you come tell me truthful things or deep
Yeah.
things or things that, hey, mommy, I didn't like what you said. I had one of my kids literally pull me aside and say, it made me feel like something that we were talking about, and I was relaying information to somebody about a doctor's appointment and things like that and what our next steps were. And she goes, it makes me feel like you talk bad about me. And I was like, thank you
Mm,
for coming to tell me.
yeah.
Let's have a conversation. Did I
Yeah.
say harmful things? She goes, no, but you're just talking about me. And I'm like, facts of like whatever the doctor said.
Yeah.
So that way we know treatment, protocol, whatever. I
Yeah.
mean, she kind of
Privacy.
got it. We had to exchange, just a little bit more words to bring it on her level. But I was like, first off, I think you know mommy well enough. If I've got anything to say, I'm going to say it to your face, not behind your back.
Yeah.
And second, I'm never going to say things that are intentionally hurting you. Now, something unintentionally might happen. Tell me. And then
Yeah.
let's reframe. Let's have that conversation. So we do that. We'll either do the hey, reframe, what was that? And we have this running joke of like, why are you yelling at me? And it's usually when
Mm.
you're telling me truthful things. And it's like,
Mm.
stop yelling at me. And she's like, I'm not yelling. I'm just saying you gave me space to say. So we
Love
have
it.
those moments, but I think that's
Yeah.
also important in that connection.
Hmm.
What you're bringing to the table, how you're connecting with these kids, how you're growing with them, because we're all learning how to parent, we're all learning how to be a kid.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was so true. Yeah, I love that. It's powerful when we teach them that that their voice matters and that we'll respect their privacy when they want it and that they have the safe space to share what they're sharing and yeah, it's being aware of our triggers and not reacting versus being able to just respond with thanks for sharing and letting me know and and I'm sorry if I'm sorry that I hurt you. I have this other thing, this like what is an apology and what is not an apology. And that's another thing that I have is like forcing kids to say sorry when the energy is not behind it. It's kind of like what happened and are you okay and how can I
Yeah.
where am I like, taking accountability and responsible for it instead of all of that. But and I love the other another it's part of my parent framework is PARENT, but and the R is rituals. And um that's another thing is like you said, the movies, like we would always beyond the dinner, that's a um tradition and that's how they know that we have that safe space. But it's also I had Friday night movie night. And so we would make popcorn and we still do it actually even well when we can because now we have busier later
Yeah.
night schedules and all the things. But Friday night movie night and popcorn and that's our cuddle up time um and yeah, it's like when you build those foundations, that's where they start to feel the safety of relaxing and being able to share openly without the pressure of you know of they I mean they feel their own pressure. They have their own a lot going on, right? At any age,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah. And it's just giving them that ability to, like you say, safe, seen, and worthy.
Yeah.
And that's what we say too. So I love that. Well, tell us a little bit more about your book. I know we're kind of wrapping up on the end of this.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Thank you so much.
And
Yes.
look, we're gonna do this again. We're gonna come in.
I know. Part
I'm
two, we could talk for all day long. I know,
we're
like
gonna do some
time we
parenting
talk.
things in here.
Can
But
we get
before we
that?
go, tell us a little bit about your book, and then if you've got a helpful tip for some parents out there listening, what's something that they could practice today that can help create that connection. So take it away.
Yeah, thanks. Well, my book, The Connected Parent, I do have a copy of it right here. And this was
Oh,
actually
that's beautiful.
a COVID painting. When we had COVID days, I did a painting project and I was thinking, um, it was all just serendipitous because after I wrote the book, I was like, I was actually going to have a picture of my daughters and me on the cover. And just through things how the synchronicities worked, I was cleaning out my storage and I was like, you know what? A hummingbird is the only bird that is like a superpower, like a parent that can fly upside down and backwards and hover and fly in the rain and do all the things. And I was like, oh my gosh, a hummingbird represents parenting. It's just like superpower parenting. So I put that on there, but it's the Connected Parent. You can get it on Amazon. I can gift everybody chapter 3, which is pillar 3, which is um, communication.
Oh, love that.
So I could give it a link in the show notes for your clients, and you could
Yep.
get it on Amazon. It's a really quick, easy read. It's not this is like the manual that I feel like every mother, every parent, every grandparent, even I have grandparents that have read this and they think this is so helpful, even for when I watch my grandkids. It's like, oh, there's some reframe in here. So super, super easy to read. I didn't want it to be like a thick,
Yeah. I'm
another, those books often don't get read because they're just too much. But and this is also you could just pick it up and open it up and just read anywhere. Like you are the decoder. Um, you know, your job is not to control the noise, but to listen for the need inside the sound. And that's kind of like what happened when your little one came into your bed. It's like you were decoding what he needed in that moment, and that was beautiful. Um, so I mean, like the one of the biggest tips right now, just easy to practice, is that it's a combination of boundary and asking for a hug, and to never let go until they let go first. I've really noticed
Mm.
that is the biggest one because oftentimes we're still not even present and we haven't even relaxed enough to take a breath and to actually receive the hug and to give the hug. But it's like it's just kind of not robotic, but it's just like part of our, it's just get in here, give me a hug. Okay, off.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Box checked. Yeah.
But if we just take that pause and ask, for a hug and then not let go until they do, you'd be surprised. I mean, I was surprised when, like, how much they actually soften. And it softens us. Like, I find
Yes.
myself softening. It's like, oh, okay.
I
You
do
know,
that with my kids and I wait. Now, my son he does, okay, mom, it's a burden for you to stop and make me have to give you a kiss and give you a hug. And I'm like, I'll do it until he, like, literally, where I notice he kind of softens a little and he's
uh-huh.
not hurrying up to run to go do whatever to his next adventure of being, you know, whatever in the Civil War and Captain America, because that's what
Yes,
right now.
I know, running off to get to the next thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
instead of
so
being Hulk and Hulk smashing everything, I'm like, give me a minute. And so, and when he does, I'll do it 5 times, and then I'm the kissy monster for him. So when I'm like, oh, see, when you're not giving the kissy monster the right kisses, this is what happens, and it makes him stay for a little bit. And he's like, "Mommy," but my
yeah.
girls, I wait until I soften, like when I
Mhm.
can like sink into it, and I'm like, this is the best.
Isn't that sweet?
I love that. I do love that. But I'm gonna let them, I like that you say let them let go first.
Yeah, try
Okay.
it.
That's gonna be hard.
And it's also a practice because I'm always in like, we're always in that next thought of, oh, what can I have to be doing? But it's a practice of, being. And
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Thank you. I'm gonna do that.
yeah,
I'm gonna get your book. I'm super
it
funny
really is.
story. A hummingbird this morning. I was on the phone with somebody and I walked outside and a hummingbird came right here at my face
Isn't that oh
and like
gosh.
just hovered right there. And so I stuck out my hand, wouldn't get on my hand.
No,
But it was like still right here, all around my face. And I'm like on the phone and I'm like, and then it goes up to the little thing.
isn't it fascinating?
I was
I
like,
love them. They are so magical and it's talk about being present to see them, right? It's just and
yeah,
notice and witness what they are capable of. It's like it's such a reminder of how capable we are to manage all, this human experience
yes,
and
yes.
how we get to be in tune with nature because,
Yep,
if they show up more when we do notice more. It's the
yeah,
same with our kids.
yep. Same with our kids, same things.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me and for hosting me and for
Thank you.
just our beautiful friendship that we
Yeah,
built.
I
And
love it. I
forward
love
to
telling.
reconnecting with you.
How can people find you? So before we go, how can people find you? Tell us some of your social media links, best ways.
Yeah, thanks. So it's the handle there. It's at Home and Harmony Parenting. Thank you for asking. I have a YouTube channel with a lot of shorts, hundreds of shorts on there at Home and Harmony Parenting. That is my Instagram and handle. I'm at Monica at homeandharmonyparenting.com for email questions. And then yeah, I have a link tree
Oh, perfect. We'll put
on
that in the
my
caption. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Yep.
So lots of free stuff to do. I have a tantrum toolbox, a picky eater playbook, the mealtime masterclass. Those are the mealtime masterclass is a class. It's only I don't even know how much it is anymore, but it's only 35 minutes and it comes with a guidebook and then the picky eater playbook is free and the tantrum toolbox is free. So lots
Lots
of
of free.
resources. The book is on Amazon and Yeah, it's just
And you also do one-on-one coaching, don't
I
you?
do. I do one-on-one coaching, and I'm actually getting ready to launch a group coaching program called the Connected Parent Path.
I love that.
Um, so stay tuned for that. I do one-on-one coaching, and then this group coaching is a cohort that I'll be launching very soon. Just working
Awesome.
on the back end details of all of that. So I'm calling it a parent party to get on to get the info. I'm going to be having a couple of live parent party Zoom calls,
Okay.
so people can find out more about that. It's going to be an 8 week deep dive into the pillars and then the, coaching support and then total 6 months. So you can, other parents can meet up in their own cohorts of their age group.
I like that.
Um, so it's going to be a lot of fun, really, really valuable. And I'm looking forward to launching that. So thank you for asking.
I am so excited for that. Well, you provide such amazing and valuable information and who you are. You're a blessing to this earth. Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you. And yeah, if what I have another coach that says, you spot it, you got it. Um,
Okay.
so thank you for that. So
Yes.
you got it too, right? Because when we spot it, we got it. Because we
Yep.
know
Spot it. You got it. I like
attracting that kind of energy that we're here to help and serve and support and yeah, and change the generational, like you said, the lineage.
it. Yep.
So I'm learning how to be, a full-time businesswoman and full-time present for my kids. It's like because it's changing the lineage.
Yep. Yep. That's awesome. And it's the legacy you leave behind.
Yeah, the legacy.
You're
So
a queen. Raise your queens.
yeah, we're queens of our courts. I love
Queen,
it.
queen of the court. But we're always queens. See, look, I got my crowns in the back.
Oh, that's awesome.
One of my clients was like, "Can we always wear a crown on our session?" I was like,
Absolutely.
"Yes."
And I
I was
have
like,
another client or another coach, and she always brings her wand,
"I
her
love
wand to our calls. I'm just like, yeah, we need to have our magic wands because we are magicians. We've got our
that."
crown on, we got our wands, we got our capes, we're
Welcome.
buzzing all around.
I love it. Well,
I
thank you
love it.
so much for your time today. Thank you for being with
Yes,
us.
thank you.
We're definitely going to bring you back for more.
Okay,
And
awesome.
yeah, you guys go check the link in the description and the captions, all those things, and go get her stuff. Go work with her. She's amazing. And when I tell you life changing, life changing. Even just being a friend and connected with her for a short period of time, like I love the relationship we're building.
Same. Thank you.
All right, catch you guys on the flip side.
Thank you.